he addressed many issues. He mentioned about the three C's: commerce, connectivity, and culture. So, stressing the fact Mr. Ramakrishnan pointed out, he talked about the people-to-people contact. That is the need of the hour. And Sri Lanka has its geographic advantage. So he also talked about the connectivity versus negativity. But he stressed the fact that we need to restructure in order to have resurrection. So he was also talking about the sustainable development, overcoming the crisis, strength of India's democracy, continuation of the policies of India, not only as the presidency of the G20, but as a neighbor to Sri Lanka. So it is ready. India is ever ready to reach the neighborhood for great engagement. That was the nutshell of his talk. Let me invite our own gentleman, columnist, professor. Every week we are anxious to read his political columns in K.T.Ganesalingam, or Finagaran, even in some other websites also. This is none other than Professor K.T.Ganesalingam, Head of the Department of Political Science, University of Jaffna, to speak on India's G20 presidency, Indo-Pacific consequences. He is more on geopolitics.
Moderator, special guest, Professor Professor, and welcome address Director CSST, Mr. Yadindra, and the speaker, and parliamentarians, provincial council members, academics, friends, students, including all are good evening. Now, special good evening, Father. I am. So last speaker, first of all, we have a Center for Strategic Study. Think about it. This conference and the Center for Objective 3.0. First one, the academically strategic position in the discussion of Northern East region. Second one, India and another superpowers in the position in the geopolitical world in special reference to Sri Lanka. Third one, what are the benefit of G20, the Sri Lanka and Northeast Tamils? We have a title both of two ideological perspectives: G20 presidency and Indo-Pacific consequences. So I feel that geographical, geopolitical, economical perspective in the presentation. The political influence of the interest group in the international affairs has long been at the work. However, it has increased in the significantly since the Second World War, especially since the late 1960s. It has also led an increase in the international lobbying activities of the government have come together the priorities, their national interest. In the third is prove the powerful government are advancing their tactical and strategical political position. As such, the G20 is gaining prominence in the international politics. US interest in the Indo-Pacific strategy are taking the center stage of G20 political grouping. This has been clearly identified in the speech to the past G20 conference, and India is assuming the chairmanship of the G20 2023 has further enhanced of Indo-Pacific strategic dialogue. The group of 20 comprise the Argentina to European Union, mostly 20 or 40 countries. G20 members currently count for more than 80% of world GDP, 75% of global trade, and 60% of global population. It's a very big market, very big resources in the G20. It is the prime forum of international economic cooperation in plays in the important role in the shaping and the strengthening the global governance and all major international economic issues. The G20 was established in the after of the Asian financial crisis in 1999 as a forum for finance ministers and central bank governors to discuss the global economic and financial issues. In the wake of the 2007 global economic and financial crisis, the G20 was upgraded of its state and government status. And in the 2009, it got international status of Prime Forum of International Economic Cooperation. The G20 is initially focused on the border macroeconomical issues. However, it is an agenda now including the rate, climate change, sustainable development, health, agriculture, energy, environmental, climate change, and the anti-corruption. The group does not have a permanent secretariat, and the president is supported by the singular, previous, current, and incoming presidents. During Indian presidency, the triangular will compare with the compares with the Indonesia, India, Brazil, and respectively. Indo-Pacific strategy in the drive to the primary maritime politics, geopolitics, international politics. Indo-Pacific originally the political, geographical concept and spans the region in the Indian Ocean and Pacific Ocean. It's not a new concept itself. 10 years ago, Rana could use the word journalist. Indo-Pacific strategy for the first time was the marine strategies of the executive director of the New Delhi National Marine Foundation Center. Recently, he wrote the Washington Post in the new term can change the new strategic mind map since Chinese reformed the opening up in the 1980s. Asia Pacific has shaped the image of the community of the interest linking with the United States and East Asia. The Indo-Pacific used the US policy makers means in the India and United States and other major Asian democratic, especially Japan, Australia will join propping China in the new framework of growing the Cold War influence. In the recent years, the Indo-Pacific strategy has been introduced the advocate by the various countries in various times. Former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe held talk with the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and especially promoted the Indo-Pacific strategy on the one hand. He prized the India-Lucas policy and other hand expressed the need to strengthen the cooperation with India. Donald Trump administration in 2017, the visit to the Japan was the formally directed to the Indo-Pacific strategy, influencing US-Japan interest in the strategic point. The geopolitical change brought about the rise of China are seen by the Washington the major reason, making effort to improve Indo-Pacific alliance. Therefore, the change in the geopolitical environment in the Asia-Pacific region are fundamental reason for the formulation of the Indo-Pacific strategy. It is this context that India considers the Asia prime national and Indo-Pacific strategy has assumed the leadership of G20. And the G20 relationship with the Indo-Pacific strategy has received the primary dialogue. India's leadership of the G20 is seen as a major cause of the respective alliance of the partnership response to the Chinese rise, particularly in the context of the weakening US harmony, hegemony, and the growing the geopolitical and economical pullout of the Indo-Pacific region. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed in his domestic audience in the 2020. G20 is the one is India's great opportunity to focus on global goods. In particular, the essence of this stage combining Indian global ambition of establish the multi-border world is the growing the project. As a leader of the global south, but dialogue with about whether to G20 in the chairmanship will help India develop the multilateral worldwide and above all build the credible partnership between the countries that will promote Indo-Pacific peace, prosperity, also the previous the position of the public around. The Indo-Pacific strategy is seen today, the concept of the grown while the US is geographical values, China's engagement with Indonesia, 2020, G20 summit in the also tied to Beijing interest, increase in the Asian regional agenda. China has Indonesia issues the joint statement to ensure bilateral cooperation in the China together with Indonesia. Agreed to promote the mutually benefit the cooperation and implement Asian vision in the Indo-Pacific region is respectively strategic capability for the China to deal with the US and Indo-Pacific initiative. It can be observed that India has also the denied in the G20 agenda in this manner. The Modi government will use the summit as a geopolitical opportunity that showcases India's potential leadership role in the global governance. India, G20, the leadership theme was the Idumbakam, the meaning, one earth, one family, one future. Reflect the Indian desire, symbolic of the united world or global world. It is the first of the COVID-19 pandemic, and now it's a war in the Ukraine, have felt the lack of international solidarity as a sense of hopelessness. India, which has been the vocal about the reform that is global organization. Now is the time of how to leadership division as India called for the much stronger diversity in the should be definity of this move the Indian ambition. Mindful is the responsibility to address the migratory crisis. India is tasked with revising the G20 as central multilateral forum capable of achieving the position outcome. Resorting the common trust in the multilateral forum, higher task of the India's G20 presidency considering the Shanghai Cooperation Organization leadership. The coverage highlight India growing role of the conducting between the East and West, especially in the America and European Union. This is unique to the important the forum places of India is a unique position in the chair common agenda and chair common of truly influence regional and global development. Going forward, the New Delhi must try to protect the G20 from geopolitical issues and internal division among the members. The war is the Ukraine, the change of the strategic importance of the non-aligned emerging power. At the G20 Mali summit, with the growing the influence of evidence because they were able to avoid being pushed into the contemplating the Russia or the Western powers. As a limited the influence as the middle power, India has been the opportunity to assume great responsibility steering of situation rather than the demonstration of the great power and bilateral or even regional issues. And there are an opportunity therefore India has simulated the multilateral international system as India sees a situation of the prevent conflict and pluralization. Conclusion. India has a unique position to continue strategic non-alliance, avoid getting down of the geopolitical and the focus on providing and public goods and building a sustainable global economy. Although massive challenges, driving the track of the opportunity of the middle powers, this will allow them to be integrated themselves in the global system, however, it is their own space. As such, the India has a potential lead to G20 the agreed that ensure benefit of South and South Asia, given the overlapping issues of the COVID-19, the recovery. Supply the chain, resetting, technology and climate change, and Indo-Pacific region also lesson can be learned from Asia. Despite of the similar international division of the struggle for staying relevant aim to geopolitical tension and 22 G20 presidency will make India excellent president system and development in the Indian Pacific within the context of Asia and regional base. Thank you.